Well, Ohio is known as the mother of presidents. And if things break well in the fall, we will be the home of the next vice president of the United States. It's certainly not news to you by now, unless you have been sequestered somewhere since about 4 o'clock yesterday, that J.D. Vance, the junior senator from Ohio, is Donald Trump's pick to be the next vice president of the United States. My reaction to the pick is, good for J.D. Vance. It has been a rocket ride for him to prominence. His story is one that I'm sure Democrats, well, I don't even have to venture a guess. I know Democrats will disparage because they're already disparaging it. Because after all, what is endearing at all about someone who grew up in poverty in a household riddled by drug abuse, overcame it to serve in the Marines, then went to college, graduated with distinction, graduated from Yale Law School, married an immigrant, and then ascended to the U.S. Senate from those humble beginnings. So what is embraceable at all about that? Your answer is everything. That would be my answer. Democrats, of course, do not find it embraceable at all, and they will and are already disparaging J.D. Vance because he doesn't have enough experience. He has said terrible things about Donald Trump in the past, so that makes him a political opportunist. But J.D. Vance speaks a different language than Democrats speak, because J.D. Vance has in his vocabulary 3 words that do not exist in any Democrat's vocabulary. And those 3 words are, I was wrong. Those 3 words are, I was wrong. He's able to say that his opinions stated during Donald Trump's first run for president in 2016 were wrong. And why does J.D. Vance say that? Because he watched Donald Trump be president from 2016 to 2020. Now, if you're a Democrat, you say, well, that's because he needed Donald Trump's endorsement to get elected to the U.S. Senate. And that's the only reason why J.D. Vance has changed his tune on Donald Trump. In fact, that viewpoint is being put forth by a woman who I am not familiar with, thankfully. Her name is Elizabeth Walters. She is affiliated with the Ohio Democratic Party. She may, in fact, be the head of the Ohio Democratic Party. Let's give a listen to Elizabeth Walters' assessment of J.D. Vance and his political ascendancy from junior senator to second on the Republican ticket under the name of Donald Trump for election as the president and vice president of the United States in the fall of 2026. Here's Elizabeth Walters evaluating J.D. Vance.
I think he is a ruthlessly ambitious politician who will say and do whatever he has to get ahead. It's what we saw all through 2022.
A ruthless, ambitious politician who will say and do anything he needs to do to get ahead. Okay. Shall we compare Republican vice presidential nominee to Democratic vice presidential nominee? Kamala Harris, a ruthless, ambitious politician who will say or do anything to get ahead. Is that an accurate description of Mama Kamala? Well, let's see. She got her start. Her rocket ride took off in politics when she decided to sleep her way to the top with San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, who was already married and who only dumped Kamala because Willie Brown was married to a woman that he was convinced was a witch and would put a spell on him if he continued his longstanding affair with Kamala Harris. I think that could be a box checked under the do anything. What about say anything to get elected? Has Kamala Harris ever said anything simply to get elected? Gee, I seem to remember in the 2020 Democratic presidential debates, or Kamala Harris decided that she would label one of her adversaries a racist and tell a story that has later been proven not to be true, that she was a little girl bused to school and that she was deeply offended because the other candidate had opposed busing and that made the other candidate a racist. Let me see. Who was that candidate? Ah, that's right. It was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden. She was talking about Joe Biden and his affiliation with Robert Byrd and other people in the Senate who Kamala Harris said, and she's probably right on this, it's the only time she has been, in my recollection, that they were racist and therefore Joe Biden was a racist. That, I think, would check the box under do anything to get elected. What else? What else Kamala Harris done? Anything at all? Well, she has crafted a careful image around the fact that she's a tough on crime prosecutor, really super tough on crime. So tough on crime that she put lots and lots of people in prison in California for minor marijuana violations, which she doesn't like to talk about now because that's not really part of the Democratic Party platform. But she did it. And it's a true fact that she did it. And she cannot run away from it. And I look forward to, oh, please let the reports be true, that the Biden team is encouraging Kamala Harris to debate J.D. Vance. Please let that be true. The other alternate headline on that would be Biden team encouraging Kamala Harris to debate J.D. Vance. The other headline on that could be Mother Deer encourages Wolfpack to make friends with newborn fawn, because J.D. Vance will tear her to pieces because, you know, J.D. Vance will go into that debate with something that Kamala Harris doesn't have. It's called a brain. It is called a brain. So J.D. Vance is the pick. And here we go. Remember, we are in the new era of Democratic restraint. In case you forgot, all the lectures over the weekend about toning down the rhetoric. Are we toning it down? We are toning it down. We are toning it way down on J.D. Vance. Didn't it sound to you like Elizabeth Walters was toning down the rhetoric on J.D. Vance? It didn't sound to me like she was. But I know somewhere here I have a compilation of Democrats talking about J.D. Vance. And I apologize to you. I can't locate it right now. But I will find it and I will play it for you. Let's move, shall we, to, speaking of toning down the rhetoric, Joe Biden last night in his interview with Lester Holt. Donald Trump, I should mention, showed up at the Republican convention last night and got the rousing ovation you would expect of a man who rose off the podium where a would-be assassin barely missed centimeters, millimeters from killing Donald Trump. And Trump rose with a bandage on his right ear at the convention last night. And I don't know, didn't his countenance appear a little bit different to you? I'm really hoping, I'm really praying, and I hope you're praying too, for this event. And House Speaker Mike Johnson told a story the other day on an interview with Ben Shapiro of two of his sons being drawn out into the undertow while Johnson was down in Mar-a-Lago visiting with Trump and almost drowning. But Trump was quite touched by the fact that Mike Johnson said, my sons were saved by the providence of God. Now Trump has lived through this experience, and I've discussed this with friends of mine. What would be the impact of Donald Trump coming to Christ? What would be the impact of that? I mean, that would be extraordinary, would it not? And God can do anything. God can reach anyone. Salvation is available, forgiveness is available, redemption is available to everyone, and that would be amazing. So you should be praying for that for Donald Trump. I'm praying for that and have been praying for that for Donald Trump. But I've been praying for that for Joe Biden too. I'm not partisan, and I don't want all to be saved because the Bible says that God is not willing that any should perish, and it's not too late for Joe Biden to repent of his many sins and from the reprobate mind that he put on full display last night in his interview with Lester Holt. Here's the long version. Remember, we're toning down the rhetoric. We're toning down the rhetoric. What about that rhetoric, Joe, where you said on Thursday, 2 days before Donald Trump barely avoided being murdered on live worldwide television, what about that rhetoric of you at a fundraiser saying that it was time to put Donald Trump in the bullseye? You're the president. You're the leader of the United States. If you want people to tone down the rhetoric, now would seem to be a good time for you to own that rhetoric. Is it a good time or is it not a good time?
You said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate
I didn't say crosshairs. That's what we focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there's very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on it. How do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when the president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I'm not engaged in that rhetoric.
I've not engaged in that rhetoric. You were just asked about that rhetoric, and you equivocated. Bullseye. I didn't say crosshairs. I said bullseye. And you know what? So I can't say it? I mean, even though it might incite people, they have no interest in toning down the rhetoric because they're incapable of telling the truth.
Some breaks of sun this afternoon, shower and a heavy thunderstorm. We do have a flood watch. It'll be breezy. Thunderstorms could bring that flash flooding, localized damaging wind. Look for a high of 87. Clouds of thunderstorm in the area tonight, low 69. Clouds and sun, not as warm but humid tomorrow. A thunderstorm and the high 80. Partly sunny, terrific day on Thursday. Less humid, the high 77. Mostly sunny Friday.
I am a premium account. What is wrong with you, X?
9 FM. The Answer.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
War has played a key role in the history of the United States, from the nation's founding right down to the present. Wars made the United States independent, kept it together, increased its size, and established it as a global superpower. Hi, I'm James Early, host of the Key Battles of American History podcast. In each episode, I discuss American history through the lens of the most important battles of America's wars. To start listening now, go to parthenonpodcast.com or search Key Battles of American History on your favorite podcasting platform.
Imagine being denied an apartment because of your religion, or your race, or because you have children, or a disability.
It's so wrong. Yes, but who has the power to stop this?
You do. Each of us has the power. The law is on your side. It's illegal for landlords to discriminate because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, or familial status. If you suspect that you have experienced housing discrimination, file a complaint with HUD immediately so we can investigate it. Fair housing is your right.
Use it.
To learn more, visit hud.gov/fairhousing. That's hud.gov/fairhousing. Or call 1-800-669-9777. 1-800-669-9777. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. The truth is, the benefits of opioids are limited. Opioids only mask the pain. Opioids also come with serious side effects, ranging from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. As many as 25% of people who are prescribed opioids struggle with addiction. And those who are addicted to opioids are 40 times more likely to move on to heroin. No one wants to live in pain, but no one should put their health at risk to be pain-free. There is another choice: physical therapy. Physical therapists treat pain through movement and exercise, no warning labels required, and you get to be an active participant in your care. Choose to treat your pain safely. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist near you. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Half of U.S. kids are exposed to secondhand smoke. If you or someone you know wants help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
I really appreciate those of you who have gone to brucehooley.com, clicked on the flooring tab in the upper right-hand corner of the page. I'm starting to get a lot of you responding there. And I deeply appreciate it because, as you know, with the medical situation that I've been in, you can imagine the bills really pile up. And I also enjoy meeting you and talking to you about the things that concern our nation. And there are a myriad of those as we approach this November election. So go to brucehooley.com, click on flooring in the upper right-hand corner. Had a couple appointments that I made yesterday. I'm going out on an appointment this afternoon, see my future new friend, Sandy. So if you need carpet, you need luxury vinyl plank flooring. I've had calls on both. Both are great products. We can save you money on both of them. We'll get them installed faster than a big box store, and we will save you money. That I can guarantee. So check it all out. Flooring for your home. Don't wait and beautify it for someone else just before you sell it. Enjoy it yourself right now. Make it happen at brucehooley.com. Flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. brucehooley.com, flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. So the choice of J.D. Vance as Donald Trump's vice president, I thought yesterday when Trump sort of let the word leak out that he was going to name at the end of the day and that it was going to be a surprise. No one was surprised that it's J.D. Vance because he had been among the finalists all along. And what does the pick say about Donald Trump and his view of the upcoming election? It says that Donald Trump's confident he's going to win. He's confident he's going to win. Now, I don't think it's a pick where J.D. Vance is there because he's all in on Donald Trump's Make America Great Again agenda, and he doesn't bring additional voting blocks to the table. You know, the selection of Mike Pence in 2016 was meant to solidify Trump's standing with the evangelical base. And I think Pence did that. Vance, being a veteran, is someone who hopefully can bring veterans to the table because Donald Trump had strong support of veterans in 2016, and he had incrementally less support from veterans in 2020. And we all know how close the 2020 election was. And so it's feasible. And I know there were lots of different voting blocks that were less supportive of Trump in 2020 than in 2016. But this election, I hate when I hear people say, oh, it's going to be a landslide. Oh, Trump's going to win 40 states. He's going to win 45 states. And you really think 4 months out, Democrats are going to listen to that and are not going to move heaven and earth to do what Democrats do to modify, fortify their voting apparatus? I'm not confident of that. And you shouldn't be overconfident of that either. And you should encourage all your Republican friends to vote early so that their vote is in case something comes up on election day and they don't happen to make it to the polls. I know you doubt early voting. It's the system we have. I don't like it, but it is the system that we have. If you got a kid going away to college, get them an absentee ballot. Make sure they vote. If you've moved, make sure you're registered in your new location so that your vote doesn't get put aside and, magically vanish. It doesn't happen in Ohio under Frank LaRose, but it happens in a lot of states. But J.D. Vance, I think, helps Donald Trump in the Rust Belt because of J.D. Vance's life story. J.D. Vance acquitted himself very well in the East Palestine train derailment. J.D. Vance is a guy who certainly you could envision being the head of the Republican Party after Donald Trump exits the stage. And I think that was important to Trump. I don't think he wanted to pick Glenn Youngkin and have the Republican Party move back to or closer to the middle after Trump left, because we got a lot of mess to straighten out here that has been done to this country 12 of the past 16 years with Barack Obama and Joe Biden in the White House. We just do. It's going to take longer than 4 years. Trump can get a lot done. Vance can finish the job. Now, while I think it's a great choice if Trump wins, it is also going to be a choice that could hurt the state of Ohio in terms of our strong Senate candidates, strong senators, if Vance is elected vice president, because very unfortunately, the choice to replace J.D. Vance, at least until 2026, is not Donald Trump's to make. Now, it doesn't mean Donald Trump can't weigh in, and I'm encouraging Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, if they are elected in the fall, to immediately, and even in advance of that, put extreme pressure on Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and name names as to who they do not want to replace J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance ran against an array of candidates in his Senate primary. Two of them were Matt Dolan and Bernie Moreno. In this past Republican primary, Bernie Moreno beat Matt Dolan in all 88 counties. So Matt Dolan has been rejected by the Republican voters of the state of Ohio as a U.S. Senate candidate twice. He has been rejected by the Republican electorate of the state of Ohio twice. Yet Matt Dolan is the candidate who most closely measures up to the kind of Republican Mike DeWine is, the kind of Republican Rob Portman is, the kind of Republican we do not need, the kind of Republican we have had too many of, which is why we are in the situation we are in, where we are in court today defending the SAFE Act, which prevents boys from playing girls' sports in the state of Ohio and protects Ohio's youth from sexual mutilation surgeries. Notice I didn't say that the law bans trans kids from doing whatever. You know what it does? It gives kids immersed in the lie of gender confusion a chance to escape that fantasy world and not ruin their lives with decisions they're not mentally cogent enough to make before their brains are fully developed. The state of Ohio in the General Assembly is much more conservative than the governor. You know how I know that? You know how you know that? Because Mike DeWine vetoed that law. Mike DeWine thought it was just fine for sexual reassignment surgeries to be visited upon minors in the state of Ohio, and just fine to leave in place the Ohio High School Athletic Association bylaw that permits boys to invade girls' locker rooms and girls' spaces and girls' sports. Mike DeWine was just fine with that. He vetoed the law coming out of the Ohio Senate and the Ohio House. And Matt Dolan would be just fine with it too. You say, oh, no. Matt Dolan, he voted for that law. Matt Dolan is also the co-sponsor of the law in Ohio that has been proposed and roundly rejected for more than a decade that would give LGBTQ people the same protections as are enjoyed by people who are Black, who are Hispanic, or whatever. You certainly could not say that you would not rent your home to a Black person. That would be stupid and that would be racist. But if you have a religious, moral objection to two gay people living in a house you own as the owner of that rental property, there are a small minority, all of them Democrats, in the state of Ohio who want to visit that protection upon the LGBTQ among us. And Matt Dolan has joined with them and co-sponsored that act. He is out of step, way out of step with what Ohio voters want. So Matt Dolan, despite the billions that his daddy has visited upon him to help him become a senator, he could not buy the seat. Now he'll cozy up to Mike DeWine to try to be handed one.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Yesterday, it was the economy. Today, security is the focus for the Republicans meeting at their national convention in Milwaukee. America's shoppers paused their spending in June from May, defying economic forecast for a pullback in spending. Israel's military says it will start sending draft notices to Jewish ultra-Orthodox men on Sunday. The announcement follows a landmark Supreme Court order for young religious men to start enlisting for military service in Israel. The Biden Justice Department authorizing an appeal of a federal judge's ruling, tossing out on constitutional grounds the Trump classified documents case. Stocks mixed on Wall Street, and right now the Dow is up 599 points, while the Nasdaq is off a fraction, the S&P 22 points higher. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical.
Oh, I didn't see we had a caller. My bad.
Well, no, he wasn't on there.
Okay.
He just wanted to comment. And then it was the same thing. He was like, what's Bernie doing? Where's he at? What's Bernie Moreno doing? We never see his ads anymore.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS. I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling. He was in denial. But when I get those letters from the IRS, he wanted to act like they didn't exist. Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Optima got me settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me. The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin. I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove they got the job done. And life is good. For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief.
Because truth is not a left-wing value, and the left lies as easy as you breathe. You need the clarity and wisdom of Dennis Prager. Every weekday afternoon,
So when you go somewhere and you find a great deal, or you eat at a great restaurant, or you see a great movie, do you tell your friends about it? Sure you do. You tell your buddies about it, right? You tell your friends, tell your maybe extended family, hey, you got to go check this out. That's all I'm doing when I talk to you about PatriotSwitch.com products. These are products that my family and I have purchased for almost 3 years now. We're so thankful we found them because of several reasons. Number one, I like taking a bite out of woke capitalism. I like not buying mouthwash, toothpaste, things like that at Target, Walmart, big box stores, because A, I don't want them to get my market share. B, I'm not sure what's in those products. They're on the shelves forever. Nitrates, benzenes. Read the ingredients. You know what that is? No, you have no idea. I like buying plant-based botanical products that are fresh, that are good for your family, that are concentrated so you don't have to have as much plastic in your home. And I like buying from the manufacturer direct and getting a 35 to 40% discount every month. If any of that appeals to you, and oh, by the way, the company's a family company, all American owned, all American made. If any of that appeals to you, go to patriotswitch.com/Bruce and leave your information. I'll contact you and tell you more. patriotswitch.com/Bruce. So I apologize again. We are in some kind of X purgatory here. I haven't been banned from X, but I went to live stream the show yesterday on X, and I was told, oh, you need a premium X account. Okay, so I've got a premium X account. And I go to stream again today and no, need a premium X account. And you try to navigate their help center. It's like talking to a Democrat. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll have this figured out, but I will post segments of the show on X later on today, and we are live on Facebook right now on my social channels. You can always watch hour number 1 and 2 of the Bruce Hooley Show on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page, or on the 9890 Answer Facebook page. I railed yesterday, I believe it was in segment 3, I'm just about ready to repost that content, on this notion that Democrats now have used the Donald Trump assassination attempt to lecture the rest of us about toning down our rhetoric. And I said yesterday, how long would that last? How long would that last? Well, and I said, yeah, when he picks a vice president, will J.D. Vance be this great American success story, or will he be like, oh, it's a MAGA fool, idiot, used to talk? Shockingly, it's the latter. I know, you're all shocked, just like I am, right? Yeah. Joe Biden last night, while the Republican National Convention is going on, he did a big interview with Lester Holt. It's his latest, big night for President Biden. Can he escape stumbling all over himself in this interview? No, because in this interview where Joe Biden has the chance to say the rhetoric needs to soften, and that starts with me. Presidents of the United States have the power, have the pulpit, have the prominence to claim attention and set a tone. So, all right, you want the tone brought down? You want the rhetoric cooled? Lester Holt served it up on a platter last night to Joe Biden to lower the rhetoric, talking about Biden's own words on Thursday at a campaign appearance where he said, time to stop talking about the debate, time to put Trump in the bullseye. And this would be where Joe Biden would say, I really regret saying that. I've said things like that far too often. Now, in light of what we know, unhinged people are capable of doing. I certainly did not intend for anyone to take that literally, but I realize now I have to be really careful about what I say. And I'm urging my supporters to do so, and I'm urging Donald Trump's supporters to do so, and I will wage this campaign on policy and on issues and on nothing else. He didn't say that. Here's what he said.
He said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate the word crosshairs.
Nobody said you said crosshairs. Bullseye was the comment. And his defense of it is, I didn't say crosshairs. Nobody said you said crosshairs, bonehead.
In the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate the word crosshairs.
That's what we focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Oh, there's very little focus on Trump's agenda. Is that right? Is there very little focus on Trump's agenda? It seems to me you went on stage in front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, like what, 2 years ago? And talked about Trump's agenda when we weren't even in presidential campaign season. You have spent more time talking about MAGA extremists during your presidency than you've spent ever being honest about inflation, which, by the way, if you watched the Biden interview last night with Lester Holt, he said again, inflation was 9% when I came into office, which is just a little off considering the fact that it was 1.4%. 1.4%. Why does he continue to lie? Because he's incapable of telling the truth. He has what is described in Romans 1 as a reprobate mind. He has lied so often for so long that he is incapable of telling the truth. He talks about, Trump told 28 lies during his debate. How many lies did you tell? I know one. No U.S. military service member has died on my watch since I became president. Whoops. If we treated that lie like Alvin Bragg treated Donald Trump, writing one check or writing a check 34 times to cover payments, that would be like 20 lies from Joe Biden, because we've got the ones blown up in Kabul at the Abbey Gate. We've got 2 people who died from the Houthis attack, and we got 3 others who died on his watch, and probably more. So here's the rest. Lester Holt hears that. I've never engaged in that kind of rhetoric. Total garbage. And Lester Holt, to his credit, pressed him.
Yeah, that's right.
mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on it. How do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when the president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I'm not engaged in that rhetoric.
That is a lie. You have done nothing but engage in that rhetoric. And here's the key part. Like, tone down the rhetoric, Republicans. Tone down the rhetoric. Tone it down. Bring the temperature down. Except for me. Except for me. Except for me, Joe Biden.
When the president says things like he says, do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody?
That is what toning down the rhetoric means. Not saying something because it might incite somebody. Infuriating. How incompetent. How blind this guy is. It is infuriating that he leads our country. And it is infuriating that on a panel on CNN yesterday, Kate Bedingfield, Obama and Biden acolyte, challenged Scott Jennings, the one conservative on the CNN panel, when he tried to call out Biden for all the lies that he still engages in. Bloodbath, Charlottesville, very fine people, dictator on day one, threat to democracy, fascist, last election in American history. Scott Jennings tried his best. Bedingfield not having it.
This man's opponent just got his ear shot off. Okay? And his instinct was to try to do some wordplay with the crosshairs bullseye thing. And then turned right around and uttered the lie about the dictator, which is a complete and total lie. And the lie about the bloodbath, which is a complete and total lie. I find this to be pathetic and small and partisan. I need the president to have an ounce of humility and introspection here. He is our leader. He's our leader, and he needs to simply say, I want to lower the temperature. I'll take responsibility for my part. We should all do that together. And he cannot do it. He can't do it.
Nope.
Without using language that incites people. And I think if we don't, hang on, and I think if we can't have an honest conversation about that for the next 3.5 months, then we're going to wake up in November in a country we don't recognize.
I'll tell you one way we can have an honest conversation about it, by having an honest conversation about it. Because the bloodbath, the dictator, so much of what the Biden campaign says about Donald Trump is just not
Those are all
true. These are cheap fakes. It's not real.
Those are.
We all know from the complete context of Trump's remarks at the Dayton airport that when he said bloodbath, he was talking about the importing of cars from Mexico, and that if Biden was reelected and that was green lit, that there would be a bloodbath in the U.S. auto industry. And they purposefully, selectively edited that comment to make Donald Trump look like the fulfillment of their other lies, that he's a dictator, that he's a threat to democracy, that he'll put his critics in jail. And 2 days after, somebody nearly murders him on live television, literally nearly blows his head off. They cannot let go of it. The lies are like a chew toy in the mouth of a pit bull to Democrats.
Clouds and sun, not as warm and humid tomorrow. A thunderstorm and the high 80. Partly sunny, terrific day on Thursday. Less humid, the high 77. Mostly sunny Friday, the high 81. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Want service that's in tune with your needs? It's time to get the kitchen of your dreams. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen Tune-Up. It's amazing what a cabinet refacing will do to liven up your space. In and out in just 1 week with no demo. And keep in mind, if you're thinking of selling, a gorgeous kitchen can significantly increase your home's value. 0% financing is available right off Wilson Bridge Road in Worthington. Go to kitchentuneup.com for a free in-home estimate. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen Tune-Up.
Illegal migrants are pouring into our country. and getting free government handouts that we pay for. Senator Sherrod Brown voted for President Biden's plan to give illegals our tax dollars, including COVID checks. Brown even voted to give them Social Security benefits for work done illegally and free health care to illegals granted amnesty. Senator Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities that release dangerous, illegal immigrant criminals onto our streets. And Brown voted to give amnesty to over 11 million illegals, including those convicted of aggravated assault, drunk driving, and child abuse. Call Senator Sherrod Brown at 216-522-7272 and tell him to support S3578, the Protect Medicaid Act, and start voting against illegal immigrants and for Ohio families. Ohio needs cheaper gas, food, and housing, not handouts to illegals who don't play by the rules. Paid for by One Nation. www.onenationamerica.org.
Hi, my name is Elisa Shaw, and I have been a patient at Revive for almost 4 years. When I came to Revive, I was suffering from severe migraines and autoimmune disease and scoliosis. I can tell you today that I'm off of my daily medication for migraines. My autoimmune symptoms are almost non-existent, and I've lost 20 pounds. I'm so thankful for Revive. So check out Revive today and make an appointment as soon as you can.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Brendan Schreiner with Revive Your Health Radio on 880 AM and 98.9 FM. Like Elisa, I once struggled with health issues that traditional doctors just couldn't help me with. Now my mission as a chiropractor and lifestyle expert is to revive your health. Schedule your first visit by calling 614-781-8848 or visiting our website at revivechiro.com. That's revivechiro.com.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Did you know that 80% of adults take supplements to feel our best, right? Well, one thing your dog can't do without you is improve their diet or health to feel their best. That is why I believe Rough Greens could dramatically help your best friend by adding what is missing to their diet like you do. Rough Greens is helping thousands and thousands of dogs feel better and live longer, including my dog, Mr. Briggs, who loves it. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who created Rough Greens, is also an airborne ranger and Green Beret, an amazing background. He loves dogs and is on a mission to help as many as he can. Dog food is dead, and Rough Greens supplements your dog's food with existing vitamins and minerals, omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and antioxidants. Dr. Black is offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. To fetch your free Jumpstart trial bag, just cover shipping. Don't change your dog's food. Just go to roughgreens.com/Kirk, ruffgreens.com/Kirk.
So every time we hold a station event, we are always grateful to hear from you how much you enjoyed it, whether it is an event that we had with Mike Gallagher at the Lazy Chameleon in Powell, whether it is the debate watch party that we had David Buster's in Hilliard, and now another chance. We're always asked, when's your next one? Well, our next one is coming up on Saturday morning. It'll be at the church next door in Hilliard, which is more on the west side than where we were for the debate watch party. And it's called Take a Stand, Be a Godly Man. We've got a shortage of leadership in this country, and we need men to step up and be leaders. Sometimes we need a push. Sometimes we need some encouragement. You'll definitely get that on Saturday. I'll be speaking, as will Tim Throckmorton of the Family Research Council, Bob Burney, my colleague at 880 AM, Doyle Jackson, the pastor and host at the church next door, Master Teague, who we interviewed on the show yesterday. Catch that podcast, top of the hour, and Ohio State wrestling coach Tom Ryan. Bring your friends and family. It's a men's event, $25 for adults, $20 for kids 17 and under. We'll start at 9. We'll be out by 11, and then the cookout will follow. You get all that and a breakfast sandwich when you get there. Go to 989theanswer.com and get your tickets. See you Saturday, 989theanswer.com. I have located the compilation of Democratic media commentators' toned down rhetoric on J.D. Vance. Here we go. I hope you can hear it, the temperature being as low as it is. You'll probably get a chill listening to how low the temperature is from Democratic commentators on the selection of J.D. Vance as Donald Trump's running mate as vice president. Maybe go grab your coat before I start to play this, because the temperature is so low, you are certain to be freezing in seconds. Here we go. Ready? Button up.
It's going to be consequential for the world even before we have the election.
He's unqualified.
is a singular issue.
He is a radical authoritarian, and Trump is picking him.
He is now picking a vice president who has pledged 100% loyalty to the cult of Donald Trump.
He would never stand for the Constitution before he would stand for Donald Trump.
He's the cult of Donald Trump. The cult. Wow, that rhetoric. Woo, sub-zero rhetoric from Democrats. J.D. Vance would never defend the Constitution before Donald Trump. I'm going to guess, having never been through U.S. Marine training, I'm going to guess you probably have to pledge your allegiance to defending the Constitution of the United States of America. J.D. Vance went to the Middle East to do that. Any of the wackos who just did a figurative assassination of J.D. Vance's character and resume engage in that? No, of course not. By the way, buried in the middle of that was something from Bill Kristol, who used to be relevant, like George Will used to be relevant. Part of the beauty of the Donald Trump movement is that conservative commentators who you used to see on Sunday morning shows, tut, 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 tisk, 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 talking about high-minded, conservatism is this, have been put out in the wilderness, like for the political version of Naked and Afraid, with Donald Trump as the president of the United States, and now let's hope as the next president of the United States. Bill, George, all the rest of you out there, Jonah Goldberg, hope you're enjoying yourself, wandering the wilderness as you try to stay relevant by groveling on channels that traffic in Democratic nonsense. Speaking of Democratic nonsense, let's take a closer look at how the Secret Service performed on Saturday, shall we? I told you yesterday, Secret Service Barbie was not going to resign. Kimberly Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, she's not going anywhere. You know where else she's not going? In front of a microphone in front of the nation's media. I mean, all that happened was, a 20-year-old kid with no military training walked right through security adjacent to a Trump rally, used a ladder, got up on a roof, hung around up there for minutes. By the way, the New York Post reports that authorities were first notified of the shooter's presence and his suspicious behavior 26 minutes before he fired at Donald Trump. 26 minutes. Now, I will have to say, his genius plan would have differed from my own had I been as nutso as he is, trying to kill a former and likely future president. I would not have thought to climb onto the roof of a building where the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit was using the building under me as a rallying point, as a place where all of the security headquartered. I would have tried to find a place where there were no cops. He went to the place where all the cops were, got a ladder, got up on the roof, and it has been reported, but I didn't say it yesterday because I wasn't sure it was reported. Now it has been verified by Butler County, Pennsylvania Sheriff Barney Fife, that an officer did indeed go up on the roof minutes before the sniper fired, peer over at the sniper and probably said, "Hey man, what are you doing? Who you with?" And the sniper, or the would-be assassin, turned around, pointed his gun at the officer, and the Butler County Sheriff, Goober, Gomer, Barney Fife, I don't know which, said that the officer, quote, and I quote, rightly and smartly withdrew. Rightly and smartly withdrew. Why weren't there Secret Service agents on the roof? Gee, that would be a good question to ask Secret Service Barbie. And so she was asked last night on an interview that she did with ABC, Friendly Fire, why there were not Secret Service agents on the roof. Listen closely.
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
The building has a sloped roof, so we wouldn't want to put anybody up on top of it because they might fall off and hurt themselves. That's her excuse. Have you seen the video of the building? Have you seen pictures of the building? I walk on my roof routinely to blow the gutters out. The pitch of my roof, I'm an old man. The pitch of my roof is literally 3 times the pitch of the roof that kid was on. The counter snipers were on roofs with a greater pitch than he was on. The pitch of the roof, that's the card you're playing, Secret Service Barbie? Utterly ridiculous. Wait a minute. I just had an epiphany. Maybe I should be Secret Service Director. Oh, wait, I'm not a woman. I'm not qualified. Do you think the U.S. government has the capacity to put a sniper on a roof if it's sloped? Do you think we could go in there a couple days early and maybe modify, build a position or something? Could we get the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on that so they could design something? Is there a harness? Is there I don't know, a crane where you could hang a big U.S. flag in front of the building? So if somebody wanted to perilously Batman-like crawl up on top of the roof and take a pot shot at a former president, that their line of sight might be obscured? In the last 30 seconds, I've come up with 3 different solutions to that issue. She's the head of the Secret Service, and they're in there days ahead of the assassination attempt. And she looks at the roof and goes, wow, looks really dangerous to me. Maybe we should rally inside. Moronic. Will she resign? What do you think?
The President and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you, but there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
Do you plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
Of course she's going to stay on. Of course they have 100% confidence in her because she's incompetent.
At Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch.